Let's do another example of a nice, simple, tasteful rollover effect. I prefer tasteful and even something on the simpler side than something that throws everything, including the kitchen sink, in there. I prefer nice and delicate and tasteful, right? So here's another example. What I want to do is I want to do something very similar to what we did with the More button, but I want to do it for the footer area here. So the purchase, the refinance, and the renew. And we'll change it up slightly. So the button is going to be learn more. That's going to be the active area. But we're going to set it up so that when the user moves their mouse over top of learn more, we'll set it up so that we have some animation happening up here. So we'll have the arrow turn just like it did with the More button there, the 90-degree turn, the color change, and then also the purchase there as well. We'll have that change color as well. So here's what I'm going to do. This should be pretty easy to pull off, by the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this purchase area. Remember, we grouped that way back when. And I'm going to head up to Modify and then down to Convert to Symbol. This is going to be a button type, so make sure your type menu there is set to button. And what should we call this? Maybe just purchase, or maybe footer underscore purchase, or something like that. Whatever helps you there. And I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. All right, now let's pop into the library. And there's purchase down there towards the bottom. Let's double click on him. And let's make sure the timeline is expanded as well. And, let's go and change that stage color again, just so we can see what's going on. So just give me a moment here. There we go, something like that. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in on this guy so we can see things a little more clearly here. All right, let's see here. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to duplicate out my frames on the timeline. So again, just hitting F6 all the way across here. Something like this. But I want to change it up, as I say, for the hit area. What I want to do is, again, I don't want the entire purchase object, if you will, to be active, or the active area. I just want the Learn More button to be the active area. So here's what I'm going to do. Once again, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click and drag out a rectangle. This is inside the last frame, the hit frame. I'm going to drag out a rectangle right over top of Learn More, just like this. Now, what's interesting is the rectangle doesn't show up, does it? Well, that's because I guess what you could call regular, plain, ungrouped objects always appear behind grouped objects or symbols inside Flash. So that's just the way it is, right? So if I grab this original content, see, there's my rectangle that I drew underneath, right? So as a matter of fact, this content here, the purchase and the text and so on, I don't need on the hit frame at all. I just wanted that rectangle in there, right? Okay, so hopefully all good there. Now, let's see here. I'm going to go to the over frame on the timeline. And let's see here. I want to put my animated arrow in there. Maybe we'll change the color of our text there as well. So I'm going to have to ungroup this. There's two different ways to ungroup in Flash, which is a little weird. With your objects selected there from the Modify menu, you can either choose Ungroup or you could choose Break Apart. Both do exactly the same thing. So we want to break this content apart here. Okay. And I'm going to go and stick my animated white arrow, which we created not too long ago. I'm going to drop him in there. So back over to the library panel. There's my white arrow rollover. Let's drag an instance of him onto the stage there. Now, we increased the size of that arrow back in Illustrator, didn't we? So let's make sure we get this as accurately as we can here. I'm just going to zoom in here and try and position this guy up a little bit, maybe something like that. Pretty darn close there. And then try this. I'm just going to hit the Q key on my keyboard. That's the keystroke equivalent to choosing Free Transform out of the toolbox there on the left-hand side. And I just want to scale this guy up here just a little bit. Now I'm holding down Option here on the Mac. Maybe Option and Shift. There we go. To resize from the corner. There it is. Perfect. Okay, great. Got him sized up there. Now, I'm going to do my trick here for pasting in place again. So I have the movie clip selected here on top. I'm going to cut them, Command-X, grab the original, toast them, just delete them, And then I believe the keyboard shortcut is Command-Shift-V. It sure is. So Command-Shift-V here on the Mac or Control-Shift-V on the PC side is the same as choosing Edit and then paste in place. Okay, great. Now, the next thing that I want to do here is I want to change the color of the text here, the purchase text. I'm just going to zoom out just a touch there. And let's see, I'm going to grab my text. I'm going to select the text here. Now, you know what's neat, actually, is in one of the previous exercises, when we wanted to go and change the color, we had to manually type in our red, green, and blue values into, I believe it was into the color panel, wasn't it? But what's kind of neat here is Flash actually remembers the last color that we used. So what I can do is I can actually pop into the color window there down on the toolbox, and there's my light blue, which is already selected. I could go and choose another color, or just re-choose the the light blue up in the top left corner there, something like that, right? So kind of neat. It actually saves you some time. Now, if you've been messing around with color and you don't have that available, you're going to have to head to the window menu, into your color palette, and our values, again, are 98, 163, and 214, in case you need them. Okay, good enough. I think we're looking good here. Let's go and test this. I'm kind of anxious to see if we've got this right here. I'm going to go back to scene 1. Let's change our stage color back to white there. So make sure you don't have anything selected on your stage, and then just reset your stage color there. And let's save it up. Command-S or Control-S, Command or Control-Enter to test the movie. Let's see what we have here. Okay. So just give me a moment here. Now, if I bring my mouse over top of the purchase there, nothing happens at all. But if I bring my mouse over top there, beautiful. So if I bring my mouse over top of the Learn More button, again, that's the hit area inside the purchase button, right? So if I do that, then I'm getting that animation happening up at the top there. So the text color is changing, and we're getting that twisty arrow there. Now, I suppose I could take this further, and I'll leave this up to you if you want to take it further, but we could set up a rollover on the Learn More button. You could make that change color. You could make that change to the light blue if you wish. Actually, that would look pretty cool. The other thing that I'm going to leave up to you as well is essentially duplicating out what we just did for refinance and renew, because we'd want to have consistency across the bottom there. But anyway, sort of another take on what we had done originally on the More button there. Pretty cool stuff. So again, I like this nice sort of delicate animation there. It just makes it a little more interesting.